now, right 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 now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the major rally that is occurring right now on, we're talking about the major correction that is occurring right now on Bitcoin. As you will already know, there has been about 6 months of sideways action that we have witnessed on Bitcoin over the last 6 months or so, ever since about March when the BlackRock ETF launched. After that launch, we had a major rally from there. We've been trading sideways and flagging out, and unfortunately, we have not seen the kind of continued rally that we would have liked to have seen. And so today we're going to be talking about a MACD cross that has come into play. And we're going to talk about exactly how that MACD cross could very easily be sending Bitcoin much farther to the downside. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. Yes. Sorry about that. I had something come up that I really just could not ignore there for just a second. All right, let's continue. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about the MACD cross that is bearish right now. We're also going to be talking about some data having to do with the United States election. As you may know, most of the time, a bull market really kicks off after the November 8th election. It's interesting because, you know, there's a 4-year halving cycle on Bitcoin, but there is also a 4-year cycle in American politics known as the election. And generally speaking, the Bitcoin market really takes off and ramps up quite a bit after the election in November. And so we're going to be looking at that data, and we're also going to be looking at quite a few other pieces of data having to do with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency adoption to detail to us why Bitcoin is not going into a rally, but why it will continue as we give it time here. So very excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Victor Lopez is in chat. Alex Nibo's in chat. Philly Skills 1428 is in chat. Good Friday morning, my guy Jeb and Crypto Fam. Good morning to you as well. Defla's in chat. Drian12 _1 is in chat. Said, hello, Jeb. How's your wife today? She is, like I said, still recovering. We're at this point, we're hoping that the idea of her having a brain bleed is not in play. That was actually a text from her there that it came in literally the second I went live, and I saw that. I was like, uh-oh, I got flustered. I needed to respond to that. So apologies for that. Trying to make sure I'm taking good care of her. If you don't know, we had a baby about a little under a month ago on the 5th, and so there's been quite a few complications that she's been dealing with from that, and so I'm doing my best to be there for her however I can be, because she's had a lot of health difficulties. But we really are very thankful to God for protecting her so far. Cosmin B is in chat. Jägermeister's in chat. T is in chat. Mattis S, Spencer Johnson, Jeff Tomasek is in chat. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get started here. This is a very cool news story to kick it off with. A solo miner mined an entire Bitcoin block all on his own. Now, if you don't know, the block reward for Bitcoin is about 3.125 Bitcoin, and then you also have the fees that get thrown in there. So that was about $200,000. The reason that this is interesting is because, generally speaking, when you're mining Bitcoin, you join something called a mining pool, and this guy was just a solo miner. He's just a mad lad, just decided, I'm not going to join a mining pool. I'm just going to do it on my own. And he ended up making $200,000. So big shout out to whoever that miner was. Very, very happy day for him. But not so much a very happy day for much of the rest of the cryptocurrency space, because there's a lot of angst right now. A lot of angst going on at this very moment in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. And the reason for that is simply because when you zoom out, you can see that Bitcoin has been trading sideways here for a very long time. As people are talking about over on X, many of our brethren have left. Many of our brothers and sisters in cryptocurrency here, they have gone. They're not here right now. And that's because it's boring. It's not so much that Bitcoin has crashed It's that Bitcoin's interest factor has crashed. Solana's been trading sideways. You've seen Ethereum actually genuinely kind of crash quite a bit here. We've seen other projects like Link crash. They're down 50% from their bull market highs. And quite a few other projects are down dramatically as well. Even Litecoin here, for example, which that makes sense. But Litecoin's down dramatically. It's been continuing into a downtrend for a very long time here. So this leads us with some doubts as to what's going to happen next on Bitcoin. And that's where the most important technical indicator that is on our chart right now come into play. And that'll be the MACD. The MACD has just crossed bearish. If you remember, kind of a recap of this week, on Monday, we talked about how, because I don't like being that guy. Let's just get this out here. I don't like being that guy that says one thing one day and then something else the next day and then says, we called it. You know, you can say something's going to happen every day for a month and then it ends up happening and then you say, I called it. Yeah, but you called it 29 times wrong and you called it the 30th time and you got it right. So awesome. You got a 3% hit rate. So I like to kind of go over what we've talked about so that we can see where we got it right. So we should do more of that. Where we got it wrong, so we can do less of that. And also just frankly, so that you guys can have a fair view of what we're doing here. On Monday, we detailed on the stream how the MACD, how this rally that had occurred over the weekend was being backed up by this buy signal on LUX Algo. And if, keyword if we had been able to break the downtrend here, and if Bitcoin had have been able to get a confirmed buy signal with the trend catcher turning green, then we would be a bull. But until that occurred, we were still bears on Bitcoin because those confirmations had not occurred, although I did hope and think that there was a decent possibility that it would come in, although I certainly wasn't sure. Just simply because there's so much, like I said, angst in the market. There's so much like teenage angst. Like, I mean, goodness gracious, Bitcoin's listening to punk rock right now. It's that much. And so on Tuesday, when Bitcoin began to fall right here, that made a lot of sense because here early on Tuesday, we predicted an up to an $8,000 drop on Bitcoin. We said that Bitcoin's probably going to crash here and it's probably going to fall below the 20 daily exponential moving average. It'll probably fall down to at least $60,000 and it could fall as low as $54,000. On Tuesday, we got a lot of comments about that being clickbait. Later on that very same day, Bitcoin would drop $4,000. From there, on Wednesday, Thursday, and today, we're basically saying a lot of the same, although we're giving more updates on that and looking at a lot of the macro because not a lot's going on the micro here. We've basically been saying the same thing, which is that Bitcoin is rejecting off of the 20 DEMA. In fact, yesterday, we saw Bitcoin running up here to test the 20 DEMA. On Thursday, we made a prediction that we would reject off of the 20 DEMA and then we would not break through it. That's what happened. We did not break through it. Instead, we're still sitting down here below $60,000 in this range, and many of our reasonings for that, I'll just kind of recap here so that you know, much of our reasoning for that has to do with the fact that the visible range volume profile is so strong right above us. It's incredibly powerful immediately above us. There is virtually all of the market structure on our market right now is above us, not below us, which also means that we've got a great deal of a difficult time to go back to all-time high, and there just isn't the greed in the market right now. There just isn't the excitement in the market, the FOMO in the market. So where does this leave us? Well, as I like to talk about, let's look at the short term, then let's look at the long term, then let's look at some of the macro factors here, and then let's talk about how Bitcoin is going to chart a path forward. That's what I most care about creating, is a path. What is the path going to be? Where does Bitcoin go and how does it get there? And what are some key points along the way? So short term here, Bitcoin is in a confirmed downtrend by every sense of the word. We are we're beneath the 20 daily exponential moving average here. We are under a LUX Algo sell signal. Now, our most recent signal was a buy signal, but it was never confirmed, which means we have to backdate to the last time that we saw a confirmed signal, which was this sell signal right here. In fact, actually, it was this sell signal right here that was then later confirmed by red trend catcher. So this is our most recent confirmed signal on LUX Algo. The buy signal here was never confirmed with green trend catcher, so it's ruled out. The sell signal here on LUX Algo was never confirmed, so it's ruled out. The buy signal here on LUX Algo was never confirmed, and so it is ruled out. We're under a confirmed sell signal. We're below the 20 daily exponential moving average. And as of today, what we discussed in the thumbnail and in the title is that there is a MACD cross bearish coming in. Now, these are typically slightly lagging indicators, so they normally kind of confirm what we already know. But the last several times that we've seen a major bearish MACD cross, you can see right here, occurred, and Bitcoin would go through a major corrective movement. You can see here, after a MACD bearish cross, we crashed. MACD bearish cross, we crashed. MACD bearish cross, we crashed. Likewise, the exact same thing is happening as of today. So it would, in my opinion, be foolish to be bullish on the short term. That being said, that is not the only part of the story, because we need to pay attention to what's happening in the long term as well. Here's the thing, guys. If Charlie Lee, was it? Not Charlie Lee. Anyway, gosh, I'm forgetting the guy's name. But there's a famous from Fundstrat. What's the guy's name? What is that guy's name? Thomas Lee. Thank you. Tom Lee once famously said that if you remove the 10 most bullish days, the 10 biggest green days from any year in history on Bitcoin, you will see that almost every year on Bitcoin is bearish, which of course isn't possible because then Bitcoin would be trading in the negatives. That being said, it's true. And so what we see happen most of the time in Bitcoin is that Bitcoin, and this is where to be a mature investor in cryptocurrency, you've got to understand this. Most of the time in Bitcoin, we're in a correction. Most of the time in Bitcoin, we're in a correction. In the grand scheme of things, you spend more time in corrective movement than not. And the reason for that is because of how both movements, bullish movements and bearish movements, are characterized. Bullish movements most of the time are characterized by excitement. And because of the excitement, they go parabolic. However, most of the time, bearish movements are characterized by a lack of excitement or boredom, which means they are more of a slow grind. So what you find is that oftentimes, much of the bullishness will happen in a very short amount of time. And then you will have a great deal of time trading sideways. The majority of the bull market here took place in 200 days. The correction from that took 600 days. You seeing the point here? Bitcoin rallied here for 200 days. So far, we've been correcting for 160. We have been correcting for less time than Bitcoin was rallying. So first of all, let's be grateful. Second of all, let's understand this principle of markets. Oftentimes when the market rallies, it rallies very quickly. Oftentimes when the market crashes, unless it is a flash crash because of a recession or a pandemic or a shutdown or something, a lot of times it takes its sweet time because it's characterized by boredom. And so Bitcoin has been trading sideways here for a long time. Why? Because it's locking in the gains that we built over the year-long bull market, first phase of the bull market that we've seen so far. Bitcoin rallied 382% in 500 days. It needs to lock in those gains. The lowest Bitcoin has dropped is $50,000. This is on a log chart, but even on a regular chart, you can see we have kept most of the gains. We've kept most of the price appreciation. If you look at the total market cap chart, the same thing shows true. We dropped down to $750 billion. We rallied 263%. We added $2 trillion in market cap, and now our bottom is $1 trillion higher than where we began. A trillion with a T, right? Huge amount of value is in crypto. We have never spent this much time above $2 trillion in the history of the market. We've spent more time up here now than we did in the last bull market. The bull market's not even over. And so what we are witnessing right now is a test. It is a test. It is a test because the markets are good at one thing, and one thing mainly. The markets are the best at transitioning wealth from the impatient to the patient. I'll say that again. The markets are the best. One of the things they're best at is transitioning wealth from the impatient to the patient. And so the question for you is twofold. There are two questions that you have to answer, that I have to answer, that I have answered for myself, but you have to answer them for yourself. First, do you believe with a 95% likelihood that Bitcoin will be worth more in 5 to 10 years than it is now? Considerably more. Phrased another way, do you believe in the long-term price appreciation of Bitcoin? Do you? Why do you? Is like part B of that question. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that? Do you have a good reason? Have you done the research? Do you understand the space? Do you have the track record? Do you have the longevity in it? Or have you been in the space for a while? If not, just be patient, build your experience. First question, do you believe in Bitcoin long term? Second question, again, market's job is to transition wealth from the impatient to the patient. It is a great sieve. The patient versus the impatient. Second question, are you willing to be patient to allow those results to happen to you? Are you willing to be patient while the market reaches its peak? Are you willing to be patient until Bitcoin gets high enough that you reach your goals from investing in it? Are you willing to be patient? If you say yes to both of those questions and you mean it and you do it, you'll be fine. If you say no to either one of those questions, or more dangerously, if you say yes to both of those questions and you didn't mean it, you didn't have the follow through, you will fail. You believe in the market, you're willing to be patient, and you actually do it. You're going to do very well for yourself. That's been me. I've held Bitcoin, some of my Bitcoin's up 20x. I'm a living testimony that it works. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to 20x again in the next 5 years like it did in the last, but I think it probably will 2, 3, 4, 5x. Still big returns. The people that say, no, I don't believe in the space, or no, I'm not willing to be patient, all right, fine, you check out. All right, bye. I love you. Listen, we've got other content. We're going to be talking about, how to manage your wealth and all that. But right, this is Crypto Jib. Okay, cool. I love you. I don't want to waste any more of your time. That's fine. If you don't believe in it, okay. It's all good. The dangerous place to be is somebody who says they believe in the market, but they don't. Or somebody that says they're willing to be patient, but they're not. Those are the people that are in grave danger. Because they are going to, since they were lying to themselves, or at least very dearly mistaken, those are the ones that are going to have the excitement to invest in the market and not the follow through to stick with it. Those are the people that have the enthusiasm to buy, but not the determination to hold. And it is those people that said they believed, but didn't. They said they were willing to be patient, but either wouldn't or couldn't. Those are the people that are being weeded out right now. Those are the people that are losing their butt. Because whatever you do, do it with confidence or don't do it at all. You know why there's a lot of topics I don't talk about? Because I don't know what the frick I'm talking about. I might have an opinion, but I don't allow uninformed, lazy opinions in my home. If my son tells me, Daddy, I don't like this, my first question is, well, have you tried it? No. Then you don't get to have that opinion. I say it a little nicer than that. I say, buddy, you don't get to have that opinion. But that's literally the exact words I use. You don't get to have that opinion. You are not allowed to think that. Because you haven't tried it. And that is a lazy opinion. Bottom line, if you don't understand Bitcoin, learn about it. If you believe in it, learn about it. If you're willing to be patient with it. Buy Bitcoin, I don't care where it is, and hold it for a decade. It wasn't much more than a decade ago that a guy was buying pizza for thousands of Bitcoin. He spent $2.4 billion on pizza. Not buying the pizzas like the whole company. I'm buying a couple of pizzas on pizza day, right? If you believe in the market, hold it for the long term. All right. Does anybody talk about this like about any other investment? What do you mean, Totoro? Totoro Cologne. That's a cool name. Because it's the exact same thing in stocks. It's the exact same thing in real estate. I mean, the people that made insane amounts of wealth were the people that bought homes and bought the stock market at the bottom of '08 because they believed in the market. They believed that it was indestructible or virtually so, and it would come back and it'd be stronger than ever. And they believed in the market, and they were willing to have the patience, even while everybody else was mocking them and making fun of them, to hold it because they truly believed in it, and they had such a confidence that they were right, and they had the reasoning to believe that they were right, and so they took a bet, and it paid off. It made a lot of money. This is the same thing across markets. I don't care what you invest in. If you're not willing to be patient and you don't believe in it, don't buy it. If you do believe in it and you're willing to be patient, buy it. That's your litmus test. All right, so we said we were going to talk about the short term, then the long term, and then kind of the macro, and then we'll kind of bring it all together. So let's talk a little bit about the long term. There's a few things I want to talk about here. Good, bad, and ugly. IBIT just posted its first outflow day its second outflow day since its inception. IBIT is the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, and it did just see $13.5 billion of outflow yesterday. This, to my understanding, is only the second time since the ETF was created that we have seen any outflows whatsoever out of the IBIT cryptocurrency. IBIT Bitcoin BlackRock ETF. Now, the good news here is that it's not really that big of a deal. You've even got Larry Fink buying the BlackRock ETF for BlackRock. They're not just creating BlackRock. They're not just creating IBIT. They're actually buying it and holding it themselves. So Larry Fink is going out on a limb and saying, I think this thing's going to go up dramatically. Why does Larry Fink think that? So yeah, there's an outflow today, and that's bearish. Why does Larry Fink, the most powerful man in finance, and I do mean that, he's literally the most powerful man in finance, nobody else comes close. Why does he think that Bitcoin is such a good long-term investment? Probably because he works in finance. Probably because he sees that the United States government is on track for bankruptcy. You can only borrow for so long, and borrow so much with a deficit before you run out of money to pay the interest on the loans that you have. They pay back the principal. The Treasury's never defaulted. But before you have to pay back all the interest, where you run a deficit so high you can't pay back the interest, and then eventually you might not even be able to pay back the principal, to the point where people don't loan you money anymore. Much of the deficit, much of the way that the Treasury covers the deficit is by issuing treasuries. And companies and individuals here in the United States purchase them. Eventually, people in the United States will lose confidence in the Treasury's ability to pay back with interest those T-bills, and they'll stop buying them. And the government will have only one recourse to fund deficit spending, and that will be from the printing of the United States dollar. They will literally have to print themselves out of the deficit. The issue with that is that you cause hyperinflation very rapidly. At that point, when you're not able to borrow money to cover the deficit and you have to print money to cover the deficit, you go into hyperinflationary territory and the entire economy is collapsed because the central currency is collapsed within half a decade. If you don't believe me, go look at Weimar Germany. Go look at Venezuela. Go look at any communist nation that has done this. Go look at any part of the world where printing has gotten out of control to cover government deficit. You don't have an option. It is a law of money. Do not spend more than you bring in, period. Let the chips fall where they may. I understand we're dealing with major and important areas of the government here. I get that. But you won't have a currency at all if you don't follow the laws of money. Just because the United States government is the largest company on the planet does not, and yes, I know what I said, company, just because they're the largest company on the planet with the ability to go door to door to 350 million Americans with a gun and say, give me your money now, does not mean that they get to get out of the fact that it is a law of money. It is a law of nature, not a law of America. You spend more than you bring in and you go bankrupt eventually. The bigger you are, the longer it may take for you to fall, but how great the fall will be once it finally occurs. The United States is the arbiter of inflation. And to tie all of this together, Larry Fink, leader in finance, most powerful individual in the history of finance, sees that. He knows that. Now, he's not going to say that. He's best buddies with everybody in Washington. Heck, the guy could probably try and run for president if he wanted to. I don't know who would vote for him, but he might run. He doesn't want to trash the government that much, but he knows. If anybody knows where this leads, it's him and Jay Powell and everybody, and Gensler and everybody working at the Treasury. They understand where this heads. They know it. They know it. Jerome Powell has come right out and said it. He says it's unsustainable. He knows that if we continue down this path, it will lead to the destruction of the United States dollar and the United States of America's economy. They know that. So why is Larry Fink buying Bitcoin? Because he understands as the inevitable bankruptcy of the United States comes ever closer. Now, again, this could be, I'm 24. This might not even happen in my lifetime, even if I live a long time. This could happen. Guys, this could happen 50, 60, 70, 80 years from now. The United States is huge. This could happen at the end of the decade. You know, the end times might happen before this occurs. It can take a very long time. I'm not saying this is happening tomorrow, but it is coming. And as it comes, it gets more obvious that it's coming. As you get closer to the cliff, more and more people on the train realize, oh my God, we're running towards a cliff. And you know what they do? They buy Bitcoin. And so Larry Fink is not concerned about 13.5 billion outflowing out of the 13.5 million outflowing of the Bitcoin ETF. He's buying it. Why? Because he knows full well that just as Sensei Payless said in chat, there is a controlled demolition. I don't know about the controlled part, but definitely a demolition of the United States dollar going on right now. And my friends, where do people turn when the United States dollar collapses? Because guess what happens? Yes, I'm 24. Guess what happens when the United States dollar inevitably collapses? I cannot bold that statement enough. When it inevitably collapses, this is not an if, this is a 100% guarantee. If the world lasts this long and Christ doesn't come back on his white horse before then, and if the United States government keeps this up, I 100% guarantee you, call me a prophet if you want, it's just plumb obvious, I 100% guarantee you this ends in bankruptcy. You know why? Because God made the law of money that states you should not live on less than you should live on less than you make. Oh my gosh, yeah, where does it say that in the Bible? In Proverbs, a man that eats more than he has devours all that he has and he becomes a pauper. It's everywhere. I've got 5 apples. All right, we're 2 years old. Let's do this. Let's do this like we're in pre-K, huh? I got 5 apples. I give you 5 apples. How many apples do I have? 0. I'm broke. Wow, I've got no apples left. Duh. Like a law of nature or something. Oh, wait, it is. It's called the law of money. You must live on less than you make, period. Oh, but what about this government program? It does all this good. Law of money. Oh, well, what about this government program? It does all this good. Law of money. What about this government program? I'm sorry. You can't turn off the law of gravity because somebody fell off a building. I understand they fell off a building. That's terrible. Stop them from falling off the building. You don't go changing the law of nature to solve whatever tragedy. You follow the laws of nature, and within the confines of the laws of nature, then you're able to build something solid. Engineers understand this, because the consequences are much more immediate than breaking the laws of money. You can break the laws of money for years. Years. Here's the thing. I'm all for helping people, but I also know God blesses us when we actually follow his laws. And one of the laws of money is that we have to live on less than we make. And again, to tie all this back into crypto, Larry Fink understands this. He understands the destruction. He understands the destruction of the United States dollar is afoot. He understands that that is why Bitcoin exists. That's why he was orange pilled. People that are that powerful don't change their opinion unless they've got a good reason for it. He changed his mind on Bitcoin because at some point he realized, oh my goodness, the United States dollar that underpins all of the finance that I run will inevitably collapse. There's no other way about it. And so with that happening, someday, people will continue to realize that's coming and they will buy Bitcoin because of it. And that is the long-term perspective on Bitcoin that I've been telling you guys for years. Please listen. Don't forget this. It's coming. Bitcoin is the only solution. It's the only solution. This is why Bitcoin was created in the first place, was because of the way that governments destroy themselves over time. The only reason that they keep doing it is because it can take over a century to do it. They can kick the can down the road to the point where they'll be dead before the consequences are fully seen. But those of us that buy Bitcoin, that invest in Bitcoin, see that coming, and we understand that Bitcoin is the only way out because it is the only hard currency in the world. Oh, what about gold? Gold is inflated just as fast as the dollar is most times. They mine a lot of it. There's so much gold in the ground that's being mined. It's inflationary, period. We have to choose financial sovereignty or we will collapse as a civilization. This is an ultimatum. Bend the knee to the laws of money or fail. I want to be dramatic here. I'm trying to make a point. Follow the laws of money or fail. It's that simple. Period. And so people that understand this buy Bitcoin. Here's something else long-term that's not so, I don't know, political. This is a chart I wanted to show you that I saw on X. It was very exciting. The United States elections happen in November. Yeah. You can see here that the last two Bitcoin bull markets really kicked off after the election, which is a good point. And something that I want us to remember. The 2020 election happened here. Right about November 8th. Where's November 8th? Right there. 2020 election happened here. Incredible. Go back. 2016 election happened here. Incredible. Do you see the point? I hope you see the point. The point is the vast majority of the bullishness takes place after the election. By the way, the halvings were always right before the election, somewhere right around here. All right? They preceded it. Now, as far as the more recent time, we saw a halving right around here. Elections coming up right around here. And that brings us to this chart over here. The main part of the bull market is most likely going to happen post-election. So I'm very excited about that. Very, very, very excited about that. And so, you know, when we look at the short term, we're bearish. When we look at the long term, we're bullish. So what does a wise investor do in that case? A wise investor in that case buys. Because it means I'm on a discount. Make no mistake, just because a market's on a discount doesn't mean you buy it. It could be on a discount because it's on its way to zero. Don't do that. But when you have a strong long-term outlook, absolutely buy it when it's on a dip. Don't worry too much about your entry. If it's going to be higher in the future, then who cares if you bought it at 59 or 58 or 54? Who cares? If it's going to be worth more, then great. And another thing to consider here, I meant to mention this earlier in kind of the short term, but I also want to show you guys the CME gap, because this is something that we want to keep in mind as well. There is a CME gap that, oh, I can't find it. Where was it? Someone can remind me. I guess we already filled it. Did I miss it? No, there's a little, that's where it is. There's a small little CME gap down here at 40K. No, it was filled. Okay, never mind, actually. I think we had filled the one I was looking at. We did. I apologize. We filled this gap while I was in postpartum. So actually, we did fill that. Never mind. So no CME gaps that I can see. There's a CME gap above us, which is great. But otherwise, Bitcoin's in good shape to just kind of range sideways here. We may see a crash, but if we do, here's the thing. We are very, 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 much in good shape in the long run. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We're going to talk about how we should respond to this here in just a moment, although we've already done a good bit of that. You fake Christian, why don't you help people? A lot of Christians be going to hell. That's right. A lot of people that do claim to be Christians are going to hell. And that's very sad. Many will come on that day, and I will say, "Depart from me, for I never knew you, you workers of iniquity," is what Jesus Christ, King of heaven and earth, says. Here's the thing. I have never helped a single person in my entire life. Not one. In fact, all I have ever done in my entire life is hurt people. All I have ever done in my entire life is hurt you, my wife, my kids. All I've ever done is hurt them. Any good that has ever come from me at all, before I was a Christian or after, was purely 100% because of the goodness of God. Because apart from him, I can do no good thing. The Bible says very clearly, under heaven there is not one good. No, not one. Physically, my body has moved to help people, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about it, because I didn't do any of the things that I do that you guys will never hear about for you. I did them for the people that I did them for. I can think about all kinds of stuff I've done recently for people. But I'm not going to sit here and brag about that. I'm not going to tell you about, oh, I did this. No, first of all, because I didn't do it. Christ in me did it, and he deserves the glory, not me, and he already knows. I didn't do it for you. I did it for him, and he already knows. Secondly, I never claimed to be a good guy. I'm not. You have no idea what kind of crap goes on in here without Christ. All I can hope to do is wake up, and from the second I wake up, I'm talking to him. And from the second until the second I go to sleep, I'm talking with him so that he's the one in control and not Jeb McAfee, because Jeb McAfee is wicked. Christ is perfect. When I put my old self off and I put him on is when I can actually make a difference. Because it's Christ in me and not Jeb in me. I told somebody one time that I was trying to encourage. I said, look me in the eyes. I looked him straight in the eyes. I said, you are seen and you are valuable. And that's not me talking. That is Christ in me talking. Christ himself tells you right now you are valuable. Psalm 139 verse 14. I will praise thee, for you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that your soul knows right well. Christ in me is saying that directly to you. That's not me talking. That's him talking. He's here because I'm a believer. He's right here in between us. He is directly telling you through my mouth that he sees you and he loves you. Okay? I have nothing good to offer. All I have to offer is getting out of the way and letting Christ live through me. The only thing I can do is get out of the way and let him do whatever he would do in this flesh and blood machine that he created named Jeb McAfee. That's the only thing I can do. It's the only thing I can do. It's the only thing that I can do. Let's see, I love reading the hate comments. One, because sometimes people are posting hate comments because they don't understand something. I like to teach them. And on the other hand, I like to, it actually, it's always fun. You know, when you tune into Dave Ramsey, here's what the, when you tune into Dave Ramsey or into any show, you tune in mostly for the people that call in to curse you out. Because it makes for good television, right? Like this one guy, saw this one clip from Dave Ramsey. This guy called in and his opening line was, "You're an idiot." And Dave Ramsey basically said, "Wow, you're fun at parties." It's fun. I don't care. Go ahead, drop the hate. I don't give a crap. But yeah, anyway. There's nothing good that I've ever done. That's all him. There's not a single thing that I've ever done that you guys have seen or that I've done that I take any of the credit for. Because without him, I'm worthless. I'm best to just be thrown in the trash. I'm worth nothing without him, other than the fact that I'm made in his image. Is Jeb related to Pat McAfee? I don't think so. I've always wondered that, though. I don't think that. I don't think so. Love you, Jeb. You're so encouraging. Thank you, Jay Ford. All glory to God. Thank you so much. Yeah. Where's that awesome Bible cover? My Bible is in the other room. Yes, it's great. It's got a lion on it. Roar! You were generalizing Jeb with stereotypical Christians. His relationship with God is between Jeb and God only. Who are we to judge? Yeah, here's the thing. And this is the last thing I'll say on it, because I know we got to talk crypto. I just wanted to address that. Here's the thing. Many people, and I want to say this for any of you that are atheists or agnostics, as I once was, or have church hurt because somebody has hurt you in the church, remember what I just said. Apart from Christ, there is no good thing in me. Just because I call myself a Christian does not mean that I'm perfect. I am far from it. So if at any point in time I am not walking exactly in fellowship with God, the second I step out of that, 100% guaranteed I'm going to end up hurting you. And I'm a Christian. That doesn't mean I'm not a Christian. It means that God works through us flawed individuals because he loves us. If you've ever been hurt by a Christian, they've cursed you out, they've slandered you, they've gossiped about you, they've turned their back on you, they've abandoned you, whatever it is that they've done that God wouldn't have done, hold that against that individual and please forgive them, for they're a sinner just like you are, just like I am, and realize that that was not them walking in the Spirit with Christ. Realize that. There's so much church hurt that goes on. I've got church hurt. I've got friends that are, I have friends that I think are Christians and I think they're saved. They've told me all kinds of horrible things. You know? And they shouldn't have, and they weren't walking in the Spirit. But I know that that was their mistake, not God's mistake. Don't ever hold it against God. He loves you, and he is perfect, even though his servants are not. All right, let's keep it moving here. So what do we do? Short-term, Bitcoin could be bearish. Long-term, Bitcoin could be bullish. We've got all kinds of different reasons to believe both of those facts. Both of those opinions, I should say. What do we do? Here is the exact plan that I want you to follow. I make this as crystal clear as I can. My job as an educator is to make things simple. I want to distill things down into liquid gold that you can carry with you. And so here's exactly what you want to be doing right now. There are two different things that you want to be doing with Bitcoin right now, in my opinion. This is simply an idea that you can follow or not. I'm not a financial advisor. Step one, we're going to DCA. And that looks like a formula. Every interval, we slash I, depending on if you're married. If you're married, it's we. If you're single, it's I. Will invest X dollars into Y cryptos on Z exchange. This is exactly how you dollar cost average. Jeb, I've heard people talk about this DCA business. What is that? This is how you do it. Very simple. Let's talk about it. Every interval, we will invest X dollars or X Canadian dollars or X euros into Y cryptos on Z exchange. So here's how that would play out. Every Friday at 2 p.m., we will invest $100 into Bitcoin on Coinbase. Every Monday at 5 p.m., we will invest $200 into Bitcoin and $100 into Ethereum on crypto.com, etc., etc., etc. This is how you dollar cost average. You make a plan and you follow it. There's a verse that our pastor read in the book of Habakkuk that was just absolutely incredible. I loved this sermon. And I want to kind of just in 20 seconds repeat it because it'll tie very closely in here. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, is it? Let's see. Verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it... This is Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. Write the vision. Write it down. In an era where most people couldn't read, still, write it down, make it plain, that those who read it can run with it. Write the vision, make it plain, so that those who read it can run with it. Here's the vision. Every Friday at 2 p.m., we're going to invest $100 into Bitcoin on Coinbase, and we're going to do that forever. Every Monday at 5 p.m., we will invest $200 into Bitcoin and $100 into Ethereum on Crypto.com, and we're going to run that for years. Write the vision, make it plain, so that those who read it can run with it. Step 2. Lump sum investment. This is exactly what you need to be doing, and this doesn't change. I don't care where the market is. Do the same thing every single day. The market will help to define when we do step 2. Step 1's always going on. Step 2 looks like this. Every interval, we/I will save X dollars into Y yield bearing account on Z platform. This could be in a high yield savings account. In fact, we've got a new sponsor coming online here pretty soon that's going to be an excellent place to do this. I'm going to be sharing with you exactly where you should be doing this here starting next week when this new sponsor comes online. So this is step 2. Again, write the vision, make it plain so that those who read it can run with it. Every interval, I or we will save X amount into Y yield-bearing account on Z platform. And then what you do with that is that when the market, which we believe in long-term, takes a correction, we buy. That's step 2. This is how you invest in Bitcoin. You have never seen it made this simple. This is simply how you invest in Bitcoin. Every detail you need is here. This is exactly how you do it. Feel free to take a screenshot or take notes. This is exactly after having done this for 7 years. This is exactly what you do. You write the vision and make it plain so that those who read it can run with it. You write the vision and make it plain so that in 3 years, when you forgot how you built your wealth, you read this and you can run with it. Because until you make the vision plain, you will not have discipline. At the end of the book of Proverbs, Solomon wrote, or those that were writing down his sayings anyway, wrote that without vision, the people perish. In another translation, if you look at the Hebrew, it says, without vision, people cast off restraint. In other words, people don't have discipline, and because of their lack of discipline, they collapse and they fail and they perish and they die. Without vision, there is no discipline. When you write the vision, every Friday at 2 p.m., we will invest $100 into Bitcoin on Coinbase. You then have the ability to be disciplined. You cannot be disciplined if the plan is not clear. You cannot be disciplined if the vision has not been written and made plain so that those who read it can run with it. When you write the vision and you make it plain so that those who read it, you and your wife or your husband, can run with it, then you have the ability to be disciplined. No, we're putting $100 into Bitcoin this week. We're not putting $100 into coffee. We're not putting $100 into the vacation fund. We're not putting $100 into this, that, or the third. We are putting $100 into Bitcoin. Now, I'm assuming that you cleared all of your consumer debt. I'm assuming you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund at this point. And I'm also assuming that you're putting at least something into a retirement account. If you're trying to build a $100 million net worth, obviously you're not trying to max out a retirement account necessarily, but I do want everybody to at least get a couple $1 million in your retirement before you stop contributing to it. Because you never know what can happen. And pay off your house too. This is the vision that you can run with. And this is incredibly important. So please make sure that you do this so that you can have discipline with your investments. If you believe in the short term, yeah, Bitcoin's going down, buy a lump sum. Consider it. So long as you believe in the long term, so long as you believe in the long term of the market, then do it. If you don't believe in the long term of the market, then don't. Let me tell you something. I believe much more in Bitcoin and in real estate than I do in U.S. stocks, actually. I still love stocks, and I do have money in stocks. But one day, when the economy collapses, real estate's still going to be valuable. So long as it doesn't get burnt down. You know, Bitcoin's still going to be valuable. Stocks? Who knows? I still have a lot of money in stocks, but yeah. People perish because of lack of vision. That's right. So create the vision. Vision is not something that just comes to you. It's not something you wake up and say, oh my gosh, I had a vision. That is vision. That can be a vision. But what it primarily is something that you sit down and you work on. You create. Your budget is a vision for how you're going to spend your money this month. Thanks, Jeff, for just being open about your faith. Your bros from Oz. Grace abounds. Shout out to Oz. I've met your wizard. No, I'm kidding. You probably get that a lot. Where is Oz? I'm so curious. Is that a town? Is it Ozark? I'm very... OZ. Where is OZ? Is that Australia? Oh, Australia is short for Oz. Oh, interesting. Huh. I did not know that. Well, shout out to the land down under then. I'm assuming that's what you meant. All right, a couple of good questions here. Am I bullish on ADA? I am holding the ADA that I have, although I'm not acquiring any more. And the reason for that is because I'm really waiting to see Cardano prove me bullish. I've been saying this for years. This has been the exact same stance I've had since, I don't know, about here in 2021. Cardano needs to prove itself. It does not have the kind of adoption. It does not have the kind of on-chain activity that I would like to see. And so, in my opinion, Cardano has a lot of proving to do. I'm not acquiring any more Cardano right now. My acquisitions right now are almost exclusively in saving for a rental property right now. We have a great deal of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I've been acquiring Bitcoin and Ethereum for years. Most of our acquisitions are going into a fund. Pretty much this exact, actually, just being open here, pretty much exactly what we're doing here is the way that this lump sum investment formula works. Every interval, we will save X dollars into Y yield-bearing account on Z platform. There's a certain platform with a certain kind of yield-bearing account, and pretty much whenever we make money in a certain area, so every interval about once a week, we put that money into the yield-bearing account on a certain platform. When the market, which we believe in the long term, takes a correction, we buy. In this case, when the market, when we save up enough to buy our first rental property in cash, we buy. It's basically the same formula. It's very similar. So I'm not buying Cardano right now. Not interested. I have a lot of altcoins I'm holding for this cycle. I'm happy with them. I think they're going to do great, but I want to see more. I have a lot of crypto. Just to be honest with you, I want to diversify. Let's also talk about Caspa. Somebody, F1998 is asking about Caspa. I don't have a lot of updates on Caspa, which is why I don't talk about it much, but I am very excited about Caspa for the same reason I'm excited about Bitcoin. I do think that Caspa is going to see a lot of spillover adoption from Bitcoin's adoption because it is running very similarly to Bitcoin. Now, that said, Caspa is never going to take over Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because best technology, worst technology, doesn't matter. Bitcoin is the first. It is the first cryptocurrency to achieve network effect. It is the first cryptocurrency to reach hundreds of millions of users of adoption. It is the largest cryptocurrency. It is being implemented into all kinds of different technologies. It is always going to be number one. But that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of room for growth for Caspa, because I think there certainly is. And so Caspa, if you don't know, is a proof of work. It's a much more modern proof of work, inflation-hardened cryptocurrency. Caspa's maximum supply is 28 million, 24.5 million are already in circulation, which means only 15%, or about 14.39% of the maximum supply is left to be mined. It is a cryptocurrency that is extremely hardened, and it is faster than Bitcoin in a lot of ways. And it does have a higher transactional throughput. And so I do think it's going to perform very well. You can see the block time down here is 1 second instead of 10 minutes, which is great. You can see the hashing algorithm is K-heavy hash. Consensus is proof of work, which is great. It was launched on the, November the 7th, 2021 with no pre-mine and no allocated coins. And it is a great cryptocurrency that I do think is going to do very, very well. That being said, as with all altcoins, always make sure that you're acquiring the number one first, which is Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, although I do firmly believe that if you only buy one thing, buy Bitcoin. So that's my take on Caspa. A fan of it, as always, but obviously we need to see more time coming in. My rental's in Denver, getting surrounded by incoming gangs, and the properties just keep increasing. Yeah. Yeah, I saw some of that, and it's scary. All right. All right. Australia. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream. It has, as always, been a great pleasure to be here with you all. If you did enjoy today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of new content coming, a lot of things we're working on that you guys are going to absolutely love. Very, very, very excited for all of you, and very excited for what God is doing in our life and in yours. And as I said, if you ever have any questions about the Lord or about crypto, feel free to reach out, ask them. We love to teach you guys. We love to help you guys. It is my whole heart to help you guys in any way that I possibly can, and that's been my dream since the beginning, and it will always be. So hope you've enjoyed today's stream. I'm going to wrap it out, but before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.